You're listening to the In the Mix podcast with Marvin Joles. Here's your host.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of In the Mix. They're stacking up, and we're finally kind of being able to get some different guests, ask some different questions. I know we had a big focus on mental health in the asphalt industry to start out. Big thanks to all of our guests that joined us for all those and sharing their conversations. I think it was a really great topic to cover, and we had a diverse group of people all within the asphalt industry that can share their stories and let us realize we're not all that different. And some of the stuff we're dealing with, we're all dealing with it. And it went really great, but it's been a great shift here lately. You guys have heard some podcasts from other contractors and other people in the industry now, some consultants and whatnot who have talked about what they're doing in the asphalt industry to make a difference, to make some change, to get things moving forward. Sometimes it's just passing the baton. And I feel like I'm doing that quite a bit lately, which I'm grateful for that, because I've built a couple things from the ground up. It is not fun, but it's really easy for them to hand me off something that looks pretty polished. I'm like, okay, I can work with this thing. And I'm doing that. So it's really nice. I had a great time last month at the World of Asphalt. It was great. We got to meet a lot of people. I've been really busy on social media as far as just connecting with people. I know everybody knows I took a break and whatnot, but I asked my guest today, I don't know, last year, to join me. But me being super naive, I didn't realize that it was like maybe your first day, Brittyn, that I asked you, hey, come on, answer all these questions about Women of Asphalt. And Brittyn's like, can I get like a buffer time here? Like, can we maybe go after World of Asphalt? And we did. So I'm really thankful that you joined me today.
Like we said, it's been a long time coming, and I was so shocked and blessed when you reached out. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's interested in the organization. You know, I'm glad that they're interested in the organization, but you also wanted to do a podcast with me, and so I was super excited and blessed. But I was like, okay, I gotta sink my teeth into this for a little bit. But honestly, I think it's good timing. I mean, we met at World of Asphalt. I got to meet Liz, and so now, it is my first podcast, but I know I'm in good hands with you. It's a little less pressure because we know each other now, right?
Right. And I set the bar pretty low. So that should be all great here going forward.
Well, I think you set it high because
I know.
I've seen some of your previous work with your podcast and your social media.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm in great hands. You're a pro, and we're gonna have some fun today and chat.
I felt like that when you got to meet Liz, right? Because you extended an invite for Liz to join you all on the Women of Asphalt Day when we were at World of Asphalt. And you're like, we're going to do VRs, like they're going to get spoken to, like there's going to be a lot. She's in great hands. So I immediately was like, oh, cool. She's not going to bother me for half a day. So that's great. She's in great hands, might learn something, might have some fun, and might be able to talk to me about her day. So it was really great. But for me, I think I've seen Women of Asphalt at previous World of Asphalt events. I see them online. They have a great online presence. You all do, social media. And that's kind of where like I knew the presence of Women of Asphalt existed and that they were working to make a difference in our industry. To be honest with you, I'm at Wiscote here today, and my GM, Kyla, she's my admin. Like, she keeps my life in order and everything else. I wouldn't be able to do anything without her. So it's important to me. I think for me, there's a glaring difference between the way that our brains operate when we talk about the male side and the female side. And for me, there's no doubt things work exponentially better when women are in asphalt. Like it does, right? There's attention to detail, right? There's all these different components that I believe are vital, which is why I wanted Liz to really dive in, and she did, thankfully, when we were at Women of Asphalt, and for her to believe like there's a role here. You know, you and I spoke to her at the booth, and we're like, what do you want to do? Like, she's like, I don't know. I like dentistry, but if that doesn't work, I know this stuff, but she doesn't know that there's what roles are available to her. So I think that's kind of like I think you and I being able to become friends and you being able to speak to her has been great because it shows that what the trajectory is. Maybe I mean, I can't imagine you ever imagined you would be in your role at, what is your title at Women of Asphalt, Brittyn?
Yeah, so I am the executive director of Women of Asphalt.
Mhm.
So,
And you
and
knew that, right? When you were in kindergarten, you wrote that on a piece of paper.
absolutely, yeah. Even in middle school and high school, and they're like, "What do you want to be?" I want to be a part of a national association that recruits women to the industry. No, 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 no. I
Yes.
didn't even, and to your point, I didn't think about the asphalt industry. I think a lot of
Sure.
people, if you're not born into the construction industry, I think it's fair to say a lot of people don't really think about just the vast majority of careers that are in there, and
True.
let alone, are there Barbie dolls that show a construction hat? No. So, um, I think it's great that Liz came to World of Asphalt, and I'm so glad that we were able to meet, and I was able to meet her, and really just kind of show her exactly like what you said, like show her there's different avenues, because we aren't a lot of girls aren't thinking about the asphalt industry, but what is so incredible is that it doesn't matter what your background is, you could be an engineer, you could be boots on the ground, out in the field, you could be interested in marketing, accounting, everything. And yet our industry has opportunities for you. And so really, my job, it's a dream job. I'm so glad I kind of fell into it. Wish I knew about it in kindergarten, but to be able day in and day out to just bring awareness about all of the opportunities in the industry and try to recruit women to know about all of these job opportunities is so incredible. And then of course, we're here to support and encourage women already in the industry as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was so great to see Liz, and she was, when I met her, I was like, this is what it's all about,
Yeah.
and yeah, so appreciate you bringing her to the booth and allowing her to participate a little bit in Women of Asphalt Day.
I recently started using the Mosier 2 Pro, and I got to say, this thing is a game changer in the estimating and quoting process. It's a smart measuring tool that captures dimensions, calculates areas, volumes, perimeters, and even elevation right from your device. The elevation thing is great for the paving quotes. So you have no more hand notes or second guessing whether your estimate's exactly right or not. Mosier takes all that out. I'll be using it on my estimates to create nice terrain maps, streamline my workflow, and make my quoting process more accurate than ever. So if you want to save time and add something to your quotes that separates you from your competitors and levels up your measurements, grab a Mosier 2 Pro at Mosier.com and use promo code X8Marvin or hit the link in the description. She's 15 and a half. I would imagine that's probably one of the youngest people to attend. I looked around quite a bit and there were some kids there, but there wasn't a whole lot. Right. And that's not for lack of trying. I believe St. Louis and where we were and whatnot was great. It's just, they have to, there's a lot of kids, and shout out to Matt Stanley. There's a lot of kids come to his booth over at the Raised on Blacktop booth. But I think there's an initiative right there to make it really cool. Right. And I try to do that here at BB by highlighting what we do and have still on my personal social medias and whatnot and in the mix. And I think Matt's done a great job of that as well, of making the industry cool. But for me to be able to know that there's an organization that is specifically trying to recruit women and young women to the industry and make it look cool for them has been great. And Liz was fantastic. She met people that I've worked with, women that I've worked with for years. Like I wouldn't even have a career if there weren't women in some of these key roles that gave me opportunities. And for her to meet them and them to be like, you have the best dad. Like you have the best dad. Well, just like for me, it was just like, oh my gosh, this was worth coming just to hear
Right.
hear her be told that stuff. But on the alternative side, we've worked with organizations before that have had different initiatives. And I attended the NAPA annual this year. And of course, I asked somebody to become a podcast guest. And then I see their face up on the screen of like, well, we had to let Brittyn move on to another place as she's taken on a role as the executive director at Women of Asphalt. And I was like, hey, I know her. She was here and she was a part of NAPA. Now I'm part of NAPA. Now she's over there. Like, we should be able to make this thing work, right? If I figured that stuff out. And we did. So tell us a little bit about what you did in your transition up to becoming into your role now at Women of Asphalt with NAPA. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, earlier you hit on, is this what you thought of, when you were wanting to grow up? No, I was just like any kid. I was ambitious, but I'm like, okay, what do successful people look like? Doctor, lawyer. And I took advanced classes in high school, but realized, I was decent in math and science, but, I really excelled in reading, writing, and, in debate team. And so, naturally I was like, I'm just going to go the law route. And so
Sure.
really went to college, got my bachelor's degree in political science. I was total pre-law student,
Oh, really?
extracurricular activity, any volunteerism. I mean, we were going the law route, right? And right before I graduated college was when COVID hit.
Okay.
So, that around that time, I was just trying to finish my degree, trying to find good competitive internships, and my local chamber of commerce knew of me, and they were doing a grant program that had some really strict deadlines, and they knew of me, and I guess they knew I got stuff done, and so they called me up and they said, "Hey, Brittyn, do you want an internship for 3 months? It's giving out CARES Act money to businesses that stayed afloat."
Okay.
And I'm like, heck yeah. No one's really hiring right now. And I'm starting my senior year of college. And so what turned into be a 3-month internship then extended a full-time position at the Clay Chamber of Commerce in my local county in Florida.
Wow.
And it was even before I graduated. And so at the time I was just so blessed, because a lot of my friends were like, well, do I need to go pursue a master's degree because no one's hiring? It's COVID. And
Sure.
I was just like, yes, I will take any opportunity. And you want to hire me full time? Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that is really what grew my love for association work, right? And I heard Audrey Copeland say it best in NAPA's Pave It Black podcast recently. And she's like, no one goes to school thinking they want to be an association executive. Like there's really not a degree for it. And she's absolutely right. But through my time at the chamber, I fell in love with like getting to know my local business leaders, getting to know, my state representatives. And then, you connect with members, you figure out kind of what they do, what their strengths are. And then, if there's any business need or, they need something to connect the dots with, that's what I really, really loved. And so very quickly I was like, okay, I really like this association work. And so I kind of pivoted to that. I was at the chamber for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And because it was COVID, I got my hands on tons of different things that probably I shouldn't have. I had a
Sure.
little dabble in finance and a little dabble in project management and, board meeting minutes and all of that. And I was just happy to take on anything. And
Yeah.
really I think that set a very strong foundation for when I saw that the Asphalt Pavement Alliance was hiring.
Sure.
And for those that don't know, the Asphalt Pavement Alliance, it's a coalition of, the National Asphalt Pavement Association, the Asphalt Institute, and the 40 Asphalt Associations. And
Mhm.
really, the Asphalt Pavement Alliance, with that partnership, promotes and supports the industry. So we go out to pavement type decision makers, to engineers, DOTs, and really just promote the great facts of our industry, how
Yeah.
sustainable it is. And we have research based marketing just to
Yeah.
keep it at the top of mind. So going back to the Asphalt Pavement Alliance, when they were hiring, I knew I did not know much about the industry, but I realized very well with my experience at the chamber, hey, I know how to run programs. I know a little bit about partnerships and how to get key stakeholders in the room and start, thinking of these ideas strategically and stuff. And so I will say, you know, NAPA and APA really took a chance on me. They didn't know me. I did not have industry experience, but they said, she has some association experience and we'll certainly, build that foundation of the industry. And so
I,
transitioned over
I
to the
think it's more
asphalt.
important. I think that side of understanding what's going on is more important because, well, I'm an asphalt contractor. We're asphalt contractors. It's like herding cats. a lot of times, and like if you can figure out, if you know how to hurt them, you're fine. You don't necessarily need to know how a cat works. You just need to know how to hurt them. And I feel like,
Yeah.
we show up to these conferences and these shows, Brittyn, and like everything's extremely well organized. We funnel in, we walk the paths, we listen to the speakers, we go to the classes, and then we walk out. It's like, oh, this was really well organized. We say that because you should come into our shop sometime. You should see the way job sites are run. Like there's a lot of disorganization. So I think like, kudos to NAPA and APA for being like, hey, she's probably got what it takes because she sees how all this stuff is organized. Not necessarily she needs to know how blacktop works in order for us to get this done or asphalt works to get it done. And obviously it's worked out.
It has, and honestly, them taking a chance on me, I will forever be grateful and loyal because I'm like, I now, the longer I'm in the industry, I'm like, wow, I really did not know. And I think, and what's so embarrassing, I'll tell you, Marvin, in my final interview with the APA, Audrey Copeland was on the panel. We had Amy Miller, who was leading the Asphalt Pavement Alliance at the time.
Yeah.
Esther McGorka,
Mhm.
NAPA VP of membership and industry promotion. They were all on this panel. And I remember asking, I said, and I said it as professional as I could, but when they said, do you have questions? I said, can you just walk me through how there's 5 subcommittees talking about asphalt? Just walk me through that. And still to this day, I kind of cringe because it took me a little bit, but now I understand, we probably could use even
5
more
more.
committees than
Yeah,
that,
5
right?
more.
But
Yeah. It's
yeah,
funny, like, you don't I honestly now I've owned my asphalt business now for 20 plus years, and it really hasn't been until I dove into NAPA and how everything is organized that I realized the depths of the need for these organizations, right? You just don't think that way until you see it, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, well, yeah, if somebody doesn't do anything, if we don't form a committee over here, like this is gonna run wild, and there's not gonna be anybody to talk about this for us. So then you need volunteers to step up. And to be honest with you, Napa, one of the biggest things that I kind of had that same feeling. I feel like I got there and they were like, come on in, Marvin, pull the chair out. And they're like, just sit down and listen, tell us your ideas and what you think from your perspective. And I'm just like, this is new. Okay,
right.
let me tell you. Yeah. So then they would ask me a question. I'd be like, I have no clue. I don't even know what you're talking about. But then it would get to something in my wheelhouse, and I'd be like, I might have something to say about that. And
Right.
it was really great. Everybody was really inviting. And, once they Esther's been fantastic with me. Haywood's been fantastic. Once they found out kind of what I'm good at and what my wheelhouse is, they'd be like, you do great over here. Like,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
plug and play.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, they start to know, like they've had that background. Esther's the best at it. She's just like, you'd be great for this. Can you talk about this? I'm like, yeah. Can you talk about on the stage over here at this event and doing that? It'd be great because it goes with this one and this one and this one. I'm just like, yes, just yes, sure. Between Wiscoat, podcasting, writing, speaking, and family, I'm busy. As you can imagine, it's a lot to juggle. How do I do it? I stay organized. Jobber's been my secret weapon at my asphalt business, which takes up most of my time, but is also the force that allows me to do everything else in my schedule. That's why it's essential that Wiscoat runs fluidly and smooth. After making the switch to Jobber a few years ago, I simply wish I would have done it sooner. The process from when a client reaches out to when we complete a project for that customer has never been easier for us. From quoting, invoicing, scheduling, tracking hours, and even marketing, Jobbers made it all happen in one place in a way that everybody on our team can understand. If you're interested in a free 14-day trial of Jobber and an exclusive discount code for In the Mix listeners, check out the show description to find the link to try Jobber today.
That is Esther's, that's her superpower. And I
Mhm.
think they saw that, even though, I was like, well, I don't know asphalt, but I know association. I think they saw that in me,
Yeah,
so lucky for the
yeah,
opportunity.
and everybody's so humble. Like
Yes.
literally, everybody is so humble within the organization. So it's super great to work with them. And now that I have a grip of what Napa does, somewhat. I'm not going to say I know everything because Esther's going to plug me in everywhere. I know it. But now that I have a grip and I understand, I really want to understand more about the Women of Asphalt now. So, can you tell us what is this organization?
So, Women of Asphalt is a national association, and we are really here to promote the various opportunities of the asphalt industry to women, and then also support women in the field in the industry.
Okay.
And what that looks like is through, we have obviously we try to recruit members, so members can learn from one another, just like you were talking about with NAPA, right? They have all those committees, and it's good to kind of have those industry peers throughout, a region or the United States, just to talk things through. So very similar to that. We also provide, educational opportunities, whether it's in-person events like Women of Asphalt Day,
Yep.
or, virtual sessions like our Lead and Inspire webinar series. And then we also have a national mentorship program, as well as, various networking opportunities. And so one thing that I'll say that we're a little different from most associations, like with NAPA, there are membership dues that you pay in, right? But with Women of Asphalt, since its inception, the founding members thought it was going to be, they really thought it strategically and didn't want any financial barriers. So we are an association with members, but we're dues free. And that really allows it doesn't matter what stage you are in your career, you have access to the resources, the tools, the networking, the mentorship, really to elevate women and to try to empower them in their careers as well.
So, you answered the next question, which was, what does Women of Asphalt do?
Yeah.
And, knowing that, there's events, you all have a great newsletter that I get, and whatnot that comes out, and it keeps me informed of what's going on. I send a lot of stuff to Kyla, and, now my wife, Nikki, like I'll send some other things and just be like, hey, y'all should kind of check this out a little bit. But at the same time, I got a really good friend, Jason Richmond, who has also sat on panels at Women of Asphalt events, right, and talked about different things. So I love to see that there's opportunity and whatnot there. And I think the biggest thing that I found is that until you like get involved, you don't really know the lengths of the importance and what opportunities exist to elevate you and your industry and your demographic in the industry to create better opportunities for people individually, but it really creates a better industry overall. And for me, I'm just like that is something I want to be part of in my lifetime. Hopefully I got 20 more years in it, right? But I know my children have been around it a lot, and the asphalt industry has influenced them immensely. I don't know that I can talk them out of it at this point, especially Eli. Liz, I think I could. Eli, I don't think so. And it's going to be a home for them. And similar to whether you're choosing your community for your school, whether you're choosing the feng shui of your house, whether you're choosing what people you want your children to be around, I think it's important for us to have an impact as leaders in our industry to create that atmosphere for the next generation so that we leave it better than we found it. And I don't know that when I first started that existed. And I think 20 years before me, it probably really didn't exist because I've been fortunate enough to I came to the WAPA, Wisconsin Asphalt Pavement Association's meeting last year with Deb. She did a fantastic job, but I didn't know the history of the Wisconsin Asphalt Pavement Association here. And it was so crazy to see what those first leaders did in each individual state and then how they got it together. And it was just like, we have a huge responsibility to make sure that all that stuff was done with a purpose. And that purpose was making it better for me. So in those stories about the WAPA or the NAPA at large, when I hear those stories, I'm like, oh, they were doing it for me, even though they didn't know it. And now it's like, I want to be doing that for people. I want them to look back and see those stories of us and be like, yeah, they left our industry in a better condition than when they found it. And I honestly, truthfully believe at this point, the only way we can do that is with organizations like yours, organizations like NAPA, and people who don't necessarily put the asphalt on the ground, but make sure that we have ways to put it on the ground and do it well for years and years and years to come. So it gives me a good feeling when I see what you all do. So in a sense, in your words, why do you think people should join Women of Asphalt?
I haven't been asked that 4 months in, and no one's asked me that. So I think that's a really good question. I think women, people should join Women of Asphalt no matter if they check the male or female box.
Sure.
One, it's free, so you weren't losing any financial,
Yeah.
um, right? And so, but two, I think there's community and excitement around Women of Asphalt, right?
Mhm.
Through, obviously we throw big events at World of Asphalt when the industry's there,
Yep.
but also I think it's an opportunity to get engaged, to get plugged in, and build a community. I think there's mentor opportunities, so it doesn't matter what level of career that you're in, you can either give back, helping raise the next generation of
Mhm.
asphalt leaders in the industry, or if you're new, what better way to get some expert unbiased advice, right? Through the mentorship.
Crazy. I mean, I think about that point right there. Um, I spent 10 years probably struggling, and then went to my first asphalt conference, met met a handful of contractors that gave me their phone numbers. And I can just remember in that first year, I could see the advancement of my business. And then I went again and I realized, oh, this was the sweet sauce. Okay, I'm gonna like ask more people. I'm gonna get more involved. And I was fortunate enough to use social media that really put me to the forefront before anybody else used it. And it
Mhm.
gave me an opportunity to speak at some of these events, start writing articles, and like I had a huge like exponential explosion of the way that my brain took in information and I started to understand the whole way that all this works. And it really helped me out. And I feel like when you fast track yourself in that way, it allows you to get to, if there was a finish line, sooner, but it allows you to get to where you're hoping to go faster. And I can't imagine any other way that would be better than like kind of what happened to me when I joined NAPA and what happens to people when they join the Women of Asphalt, where you get plugged in. They already know really what the pain points are. They know what you're looking for. They create the atmosphere so that you can find these people and talk to them. I talked to Ben Gallagher at Gallagher Asphalt. I talked to him, and he's just a genius. I would have never had that opportunity if I wouldn't have joined an organization where he existed. And I just feel like that's the best point. Is like if you don't know or you're plateaued or whatever, you have to make a change in order for things to change. Why not join an organization where like they're making a difference and they know what they're doing? AI this, AI that. How do we integrate AI? AI is coming for our jobs, all that stuff. You've been hearing it a lot lately. I want to introduce you guys to something very cool that I've had the chance to start using for a bit that uses AI as well. So imagine a world where you don't have to go out to the quote. You can talk to your client and have them take a video, send the video to you, but essentially doesn't come to you. It goes to AI. AI listens, it goes through the transcripts, it actually looks at the video and sees the surface area and whatnot, and then evaluates whether or not this is a good potential client match for you or not. And not only does it yes or no, but the percentage that you might likely convert this client. Wouldn't that be appealing? Well, let me tell you, I've been using a product that does that. It's called FormView. So, FormView is a tool for contractors and other trade professionals that help streamline the process of providing estimates for jobs and projects instead of requiring those in person walkthroughs. So, FormView allows the homeowners or project managers to record a guided video walkthrough. And based on that video, FormView provides us, the contractors, with scoped summaries that detail the work that's required, AI generated insights, so intelligent analysis of the project requirements, and a buyer intent score that helps gauge the likelihood of a homeowner moving forward or a project manager moving forward with the work. So essentially, it aims to save contractors time by helping them understand the scope of work and the customer's needs without physically visiting the site. This allows them to quickly assess a project, whether it's worth pursuing or investing the time of going and providing a full estimate or not. So check that out. That's FormVue.com. And dude, you have to check this out, everybody. This is how AI is going to be integrated into our future. I'm going to be using it. Check out for look out for the content because it's coming as well from me. And I cannot wait to show you guys what FormView has to offer our industry.
Yeah, and I actually just spoke with we have tons of male allies in our mentorship program, and I was just curious. So I interviewed one of them a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, tell me your why. I'm just
What a
interested, and
great question.
obviously, we want women and men to be involved in this program. And he said, Brittyn, I think sometimes it's out of respect when you see an organization of Women of Asphalt or Women of blank.
Hmm.
As a male, you kind of want to respect that. You know that they're wanting some support and some camaraderie with that. So either we're kind of put on pause out of respect, or we just don't know where we fit in. But through his personal testimony and stuff, mentorship was a big factor,
Big
and so
factor.
he's plugged in that way and saw a need, and he's like, it doesn't matter if it's women of, this is my industry, and I want to pour into anybody, that's there. So I love that. And to your point, Marvin, I'm very much similar to you. I would not be the person or the professional that I am if it wasn't for my mentors in my corner. Um, they've spoken my name in rooms I didn't even know existed, and I think that's just such a beautiful thing. And any type of mentorship program, we have a national one. I know NAPA, I'm not sure if they do, but they have the impact group,
Yeah.
the young professionals, and you can either create friends, colleagues, or mentors just in that as well.
Have.
So,
Yeah. 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 I think it's great. I think, when you talk about your story, Brittyn, and then I think about Liz, I'm super glad you guys connected because when you tell your story and you're like, I had no idea that I was even going to be in the asphalt industry. And then once I realized that I was in the asphalt industry, I didn't even know what I was going to do. Right. That's okay. Like, that's fine. You don't have to. All you have to do is like point the ship and we'll guide you and help get you there. And I feel like that was Liz, where she's like, I don't know what I would do. And the answer is literally like, you can do whatever you want to do.
yeah,
Like, and it's not as scary as you think. Like, we can help you get there. Like, you can meet the people, they get to know you. It was like with your story, like they knew your character traits and your personality traits and your tendencies when it came to organization. They're like, she'd be great there. And I do that same thing, right? Like, people will call me and be like, hey, we need a sales guy. Do you know somebody? Well, yeah, I know so and so. They just left over there because they moved. And now they're over here and they'd be a great fit right there. And
right.
it happens all the time because you have a network, an organization, right?
Mhm.
That helps out. And I just think it's fantastic. The big question, what I want to know is, because I'm always looking forward. Like, what are the initiatives, and when you look at Women of Asphalt now that you've had your time there, to understand like the direction, the guidance, what are the initiatives? Like, what are the goals coming up? Like, what does the future hold, for Women of Asphalt?
Yeah. So, we're still a very young, organization. We've only been around for 7 years, and it's honestly amazing the growth that we've gotten for 7 years, being primarily driven from a volunteer board and volunteer members and stuff. And so, we've only been able to get this far because of those volunteers and because of the industry support, and
Yeah.
so as I kind of, take reins of the ship, so to speak, I definitely want to keep our current programs afloat. Our mentorship program year over year, we're exceeding those numbers. I want to keep Women of Asphalt Day. This year was our second year doing it, so keep that momentum, but then also find opportunities, to get some ladies together to continue those educational opportunities. Maybe it's site tours with our partners, or creating, a small program where, maybe we meet for 5 days and each day covers a little bit different sector of the industry and stuff. And so, those are kind of in talks and in the works of it. But I certainly see us with now a full-time staffer. It's a big win. So now we can focus on what we're doing great, continue that, and then how do we amplify it to that
Yeah.
next level?
Yeah. That was my next question, like the scaling, right? Because, I thought your guys' presence at World of Asphalt this year was great. And it was like, well, I would love to see that a little wider. There was a lot of pink crammed into a 10 by 10. It'd be
Yeah.
great if we had, 20 feet of that and it would hit me so fast. I loved it. I feel like we focus a lot in our industry of like, that question, what next, sometimes feels like a loaded question because it makes you feel like, well, are we doing enough? Should we always be doing more and more and more? And I don't necessarily feel that. I think you guys are doing such a great job at what you do that if you amplify that, that is a big chunk of like what's next. And I think making sure that the foundation keeps getting built really well is what NAPA's done. And it has allowed them through the years to diversify to the needs and create all that stuff. And I just feel like that's what you all are doing. And it's just so fun to see. And it makes me, I want to ask you, I know I kind of prepped you with questions, but I developed a couple of them through our conversation.
Yeah,
Um,
let's do
Okay.
it.
What is your favorite part about what you do? Like, what is the favorite part in whether that's your role or whether it's just being your involvement with Women of Asphalt? Like, what do you find the most rewarding? What's your favorite part? So I was recently on my way back down to Tennessee, and I was going through Indiana doing some heavy highway construction there, and I seen them paving at night, and they had these lights on the back of the paver that illuminated the whole area. You could see the skid steers, you could see the dump trucks, you could see everything. And these big balloon lights on the back came from Portable Lighting Solutions. So PLS is the only balloon light manufacturer offering a replaceable screw-in LED bulb that is field serviceable in minutes. They have a patented slide-in assembly, and they have a push to rapidly deploy mechanism. So you just push down on the light and the light pops up and is illuminated. You push back down, it shuts off. And they're manufactured here in the USA. There's no patch kits needed. There's not a blower motor. There's no set screws, and they're UL certified. So if you're interested in putting one of these on your paver, I think I'm going to put one on the paver that we just got and probably on our seal coat unit too, so that we can seal coat at night. You can hop over to portablelightingsolutions.net and put an order in and find yours today. They are ARA members, APWA members, and Women of Asphalt members as well. Once again, that's portablelightingsolutions.net.
Oh gosh, there's like two that just went straight to my head. So one of them is just connecting with these women, and hearing their stories, how they got involved. Some of them, worked out in the field, and then worked their way up, or went into engineering thinking they were gonna go one route, but they got recruited, in the asphalt industry and stayed. And so it's really neat to hear just the variety of different ways that women found out about the industry. And then not only did they find out about the industry and started a job or an internship, but they stayed. And the beautiful thing, whether it's Women of Asphalt or NAPA or anybody in the industry, you stay because of the people and the work,
Yes.
right? The culture's great.
Yes.
And then, the second thing that was in my head was just what's the most rewarding thing about this is I think seeing the growth kind of when I was on the APA NAPA side, Women of Asphalt was already around, but seeing it grow year over year over year. And then being able to take this baby, and the board trusting me with this baby, right? And to want to grow it to a teenager and to a successful adult, you said,
Pass the
basically,
baton. Yeah.
yeah.
Here I was like, so why would anybody hand me one to begin with? But thank you. I'll see what I can do.
Right, right. So, I mean, it's really rewarding and exciting. And I think, now it's time for us to keep continuing our good programs and seeing how we can elevate it. Because year over year associations, that's what we're tasked to do with our
Yeah.
partners. It's okay, we're good at this, but what's next?
Yeah.
And I love that because it's a challenge. So I guess that's my third. You only asked for one, but I've given you three. That's my
Okay.
third
That's fine.
rewarding thing.
That's fine. But that's a great answer. I feel like you see Women of Asphalt, you see Blacktop Banner, you see like these things, these organizations, these entities pop up, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
We're still cool. What is this thing doing?
Right.
Really, where is it getting the foundation, the crux? Like, where is it going?" And I feel like with Women of Asphalt, it was really cool. Like, this is a great idea. These women are getting together. They're creating opportunities and different sessions that are helping and getting there. But now I've noticed like because of the foundations that we've seen before and kind of the framework from other organizations, there's a framework there that you are getting to be able to build off of. That the brand is there, the entity is there. It's like, okay, this is what we do, this is what we want to do, and this is how we do it going forward. So I feel like for me, there was that entry thing of like, oh, cool. I imagine way back in when Napa got started, everyone was like, oh, cool, we organized. What do we do? And I feel
Yeah.
like with the women, I've been around the industry long enough and knowing that Women of Asphalt is still somewhat fledgling, I've worked with some great women in the asphalt industry, not only on the asphalt side, but in like I hate to say social media side, but like the marketing side is what I'll say.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, without those women in those positions, I would have not grown and became what I came if they hadn't challenged me and given me opportunities to do what I do. Makes me emotional, really, thinking about it, because I love them so much. Um, and now that there's a framework there for other people to create opportunities and be part of kind of that story that I've been part of, it's super exciting. So for me, it's like I want, if I'm not going to be involved firsthand, I have a daughter that would love to be involved, right? So, and I can be involved secondhand. I have a GM that would be involved and was involved and can be secondhand. We're surrounded by women and men. So for me, it's just such a great thing. And I'm really excited to be part of NAPA now, and also, be in proximity with Women of Asphalt and World of Asphalt and ConAg and all these different things we're going to do. I just think it's really good. And I think that, I think I've said that 10 times, maybe 20, that I think it's really good.
Say
But
another 25.
I will. I just feel like the whole thing to me has an Esther feel, where she's like, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this. Even though she doesn't have to direct us, now we know. I know what I'm good at and then where I can help out. And I want to do that for my organization. And it just feels like we have such great frameworks with these organizations that we're part of, and organizations that you lead now, to build that for us going forward. And it just makes what we do very enjoyable. Like, I used to love doing the asphalt work, Brittyn. Now I love doing work about the asphalt. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it so much funner. I have such a huge family. I have such great friends. We have a community, we have a family, and it's just so good to know that there was a need for the Women in Asphalt to exist. Obviously, it gets created, starts to grow. Yes, that hunch was right. There is a need, and that we have that going forward in the future.
Yeah, and what's so amazing is like what you just said. You've been in the asphalt industry, you walked the walk, and you pivoted, with this marketing role and stuff, and yet you're still in the industry, right? And
Yeah,
a lot of times, we don't think about all of the big roles and different things of, obviously, the people in the field, they're getting the work done. They are doing it. But there's also other supportive roles in this industry all tied together. And I think
yeah,
that's just what's so beautiful. And you mentioned earlier, we are a very humble industry. And so if there's ways that we can all just promote our industry outwardly and say, hey, it doesn't matter what you're interested in, there's room at the table for you in this
yeah,
industry.
yeah,
I think that's just awesome. NAPA's doing it. Clearly, we're doing it, and
yeah,
you're doing it. Aaron Witt's doing it. So I think
yeah,
if we can just get more champions of promoting that, we'll really build that workforce up and that
yeah.
pipeline.
Yeah, I just feel like there's so much growth potential. Like, we see it. We know there's growth in our industry, in the asphalt industry. And I feel like sometimes you get overwhelmed, right? If somebody's like, hey, yeah, I want to be in marketing, but I don't want to be the director of marketing, right? Well, I want to be the assistant to the person that takes care of conferences and shows, and then figures out how to organize the 2 food and bev sessions that night. And then I'll work my way up there. And ironically, I don't know about this in any other industry because I've only been in the asphalt industry. But I had a feeling if you said that, somebody would say, okay, we can do that. Right.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's possible in other industries, but I feel like the path and the trajectory that you want probably exists because we're growing like crazy. Right. My associate editor at Pavement Magazine, when I wrote articles there, was Dormy Roberts. Dormy Roberts now does marketing and directing for Dynapack. What a pivot.
that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
What a pivot. And she, her predecessor, Jessica Lombardo, took a shot at me earlier too, took a shot on me earlier, and gave me so many opportunities to exist and do what I do. And also did it for Dormy. And now Dormy and I work together with Dynapack, and then they work together and we all work together. And there's just this fantastic opportunity and synergy that exists. So if you want to be quiet, I love Dormy. She's super sweet, gets stuff done. She's nice and quiet. The one of the major people who challenged me and really made me grow in this role, inform what I do here into a business, was Alessandra Crawford with Craftco. I would tell her, she knew like she was grilling me. And I would tell her when we get off there, I'd be like, please keep it up because I'm growing and I'm learning a lot. There's just so many opportunities. And I just feel like you'd say it's your dream job. I feel like when I do this, this is my dream job. I love doing this. This exists in an industry where we mix sand, rocks, and oil together and mash it up.
Yeah.
Like this exists there. It's so preposterous to think that this exists here. But if this exists, if these two roles exist, I believe that any role can exist within the asphalt industry. We can create it. Same way we create the roads, we can create lives, ideal lives are what we do. I used to be 300 pounds, 297 to be exact. And if you're around me at asphalt or construction expos or in my circle, you remember that Marvin. I'm not him anymore. I've all but eliminated the choices that got me there in the first place. And I'm down about 100 pounds over the last few years, all from making better choices. I know it's hard in our industry to find time and that those gas station stops are way too convenient, but we in our industry aren't getting enough of what we need to live healthy and stay productive, with those choices being our constant. Besides prepping my own food, I choose foods and supplements from First Form to help me get to where I need to be, along with a regular exercise routine. You've seen my posts over the last few years about using First Form's products to get what I need into my body on the road and keeping out excess of what I don't need or want. I use at least one First Form product every day to ensure I stay on track. I've worked way too hard to let this slip. If you use the link in the episode description, you'll get free shipping on orders over $75 from First Form today. If you reach out to me personally via DM or email, I would love to tell you about what I use and my experiences using First Form's products.
Once we get over that hump of like, you can marketing, accounting, boots on the ground, engineering. Once we get over that obstacle, so to speak, like the world's your oyster,
For
really,
sure.
because the people are, like you said, they see, what you're good at, they're empowering you, but they're also going to challenge you. And I
Mhm.
love that too, right? And yet, like you said, we're all just kind of a big family. So if you need to pivot or you've grown, they're going to be willing to find opportunities for you
Yeah,
and celebrate your time at this organization as you're going to the other organization too. So again, I think we just need to promote all the various opportunities as proudly as we can.
I
And
do.
who doesn't want to be a part of an industry that keeps America moving? You don't have to sell the idea of asphalt. Everyone drives on it every day,
I was gonna
you
say,
know. So it's great.
yeah, yeah. I feel like, I was like, we're not going anywhere, but like, actually, we're going everywhere. Like I told somebody that one time because they're like, this has been around. We're going on 100 years. Asphalt's been around doing whatever. I'm like, yeah, we're not going anywhere, but we're going everywhere. So therefore, like, it's not going anywhere because we're constantly moving. Humans always are. And you mentioned like the opportunities that exist. I get so excited about people who are in positions and moving through the ladder that's in our industry, whatever. And then all of a sudden they see a brand new opportunity that exists that no one has ever seen before. And they either create a role about it or they create an organization around it or a business around it or something. And if they weren't in that position at that time and see it the way that they see it, it wouldn't happen. When you walk some of the booths at World of Asphalt or any other conferences, there's booths that are doing brand new things with
Yeah.
asphalt, like brand new. It's like this didn't even exist. Oh yeah, we started a month ago and then got a booth here, and now we're doing
Right.
robotic GPS line striping on parking lots. Like, oh my gosh, what a crazy thing! This guy. Yeah, I didn't know anything about this. I flew drones and programmed robots, and now here we're doing. I have a robotic crack filling machine, a robotic line striping machine. Uh,
Right.
if that can happen, anything can happen in this industry for sure. So
100%. Yeah.
so the best way that I've ever found is, of course, to stay up to date is I'm always on social media, of course, but there's other ways as well. People love to follow along websites and newsletters and whatnot. So if we want to follow Brittyn, where's the best way to do that? I've come to find it's possibly LinkedIn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So LinkedIn, despite how young I look, I'm social media is a love or hate relationship with me personally, but definitely LinkedIn. For Women of Asphalt, though, I mean, we're on Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, LinkedIn, stay up to speed on that. And we actually have a new website that's going to be coming live
All
in
right.
time. So I'll leave that with you and your
Okay.
viewers, but
Perfect.
stay tuned for that. We're super excited.
Well, I'm sure we follow on social. We'll be able to get it when the website's up and going and doing its thing. So I'm really excited about that. I'm just so I'm so excited about the future, and um, it's like a how do I feel right now? I feel like I did when I went to my very first asphalt conference and I didn't know it existed. And all these people had known it existed for years. And I get there and they're like, yep. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, whoa, there's this and this. Oh, you guys do this and this. And they're like, yeah, we've been doing it for like a decade. I feel like that has been the last decade until recently, the last year and a half with technology, AI, the passing of the batons to a lot of the younger generation from the older generation with new insight, new eyes. It's probably for me in my lifetime, the second most exciting time to be in the asphalt industry is right now. I feel like just because there's so many opportunities. We're doing technology. We're able to incorporate a lot of things to the shows, the conferences, and even when you're not at any of the shows and conferences, if you pay attention on social media or stay tuned to newsletters or wherever, it feels like you're still are up to date and new things are happening and you can still get that wow factor. So I would highly recommend following along with Women of Asphalt online. Brittyn, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Marvin, and thank you for your patience. Again, we kicked this off saying it was a long time coming, but it was. I think the wait was well worth it for me because I had stuff to talk about now, and so it certainly, with it being my first podcast, it was more talking like a friend. We've met and everything, and so some of those first time jitters were gone. So I just appreciate you and. Definitely excited to we're friends. So I know I'm going to see you probably at NAPA's Impact meeting this fall, and definitely want to follow along with Liz, whether she ends up in the asphalt industry or wherever. I mean, she handled herself like a champ at World of Asphalt, but she's going places and
she's got some experience under her belt. I'll give her that. She's been going since she was a runt. So she kind of knows the MO. For sure. I'll definitely see it. I'm speaking at Impact on social media and how we can utilize it and use it properly to promote ourselves and our organizations and what we're part of in our industry. So I'm really excited about that. And I think I will second that feeling of it was definitely worth the wait and better to wait because I was able to learn more along that route as well, especially about Women of Asphalt, about you and your role. And it makes for great conversation. What I'm excited about is we could do this again next year and the year after, and it would be a completely different conversation because of where we're going, what we're doing, and what's all happening. So thank you so much for what you do for our industry and for Women of Asphalt. And I'm just really excited to see what the future holds.
Thanks, Marvin. Yeah, and I'm excited for you. Obviously, going to keep following along with the podcast, and I'm going to learn a couple things that impact with social media. Like I said, personally, I don't use it, so I definitely need to brush up on my skills.
I'm going to get you more to the love side than the hate side. I promise.
Okay. You know what? Challenge accepted.
All right. Perfect. Well, thanks again for joining us, Brittyn. We really appreciate it. And for anybody else, you can always follow us along, especially on Instagram. If you look up at In The Mix MJ, or you just search Marvin Joles anywhere on there, you'll find my personal pages as well. And you can find us on TikTok. We got quite a big following on there as well. And with overall 1 million+ engagements monthly, I cannot thank you all so much that we're still keeping that up, transferring from Blacktop Banner to this new venture. It makes me appreciate what we do and that we're out there and doing what we do for our industry. So thanks so much for all that support. As always, for myself here in this little tin cement hut that I call the Wiscoat office here in Wisconsin, I greatly appreciate it. Brittyn, where are you at? Are you in Florida?
I'm in Florida. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sunshine.
Awful.
Spring weather.
I was in Key West last week. I'm still peeling a little bit.
Oh gosh. How was it going back to Wisconsin after that? That had to be hard. Don't talk about it.
Okay, cool. All right. Sounds good. For myself here in beautiful, balmy, tropical Wisconsin and snow-covered Florida for Brittyn, we really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks again, Brittyn.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. All right, everybody. Stay in the mix. Peace. Even before I had a discount code partnership with Brunt Workwear, which you can find in the description of this podcast, I was wearing their boots when patching or paving and their shirts and hats when I was out on date night with Nikki. I'm actually wearing one right now. Seriously, though, half my closet is Brunt Workwear at this point. I have 3 sets of boots, 2 Marins, and a pair of the Omans, as well as a green Chevlin hoodie that I love. It's got a snake on it. It actually has a pocket where it keeps my cell phone there in the front. I love that about it. And it took the place of my winter jacket last season. To check out their full line, go to bruntworkwear.com and use code MJoles10 to save $10 off your first order of $60 or more.